Spacestation Gaming versus Golden Guardians.
Here we go. We got Golden Guardians. We got WizK coming in on the Mage, not just playing the Shadow Priest, not just playing the Warlock, but also the Fire Mage. Rogue Mage Paladin coming in for the Golden Guardians, and Spacestation Gaming tagging in Spexin for some Elemental Shaman, Windwalker Paladin. I'm really curious to see if the Golden Guardians, Absurd on the Paladin, WizK on the Mage, they can make something happen with this composition, because if they can, that's going to be a great sign for them.
I did not expect this from both sides, but Smexin on the Elemental Shaman could be a bit of a liability. Typically not a great specialization into Rogue Mage. Gorecki currently blinded. He did pre-Vitality Conduit. Nice grapple weapon on the sap. Peekaboo trinkets to secure the sap. Peekaboo going all in, dropping that Drestigath. Gorecki responds immediately, but he trinkets into his stun. If he has to use Divine Shield on top of this, it's going to be devastating. Can they get the follow-up? WizK's looking for the Polymorph. He gets the Polymorph. Smexin's interrupted. Still taking quite a bit of damage from Peekaboo. Smoke Bomb right at the end of the Polymorph. Trying to chain it together. Smexin trinkets. He gets out of it. He holds on to Astral Shift. They still have Divine Shield and Sacrifice. Space Station Gaming looking stable. They're engaging now. Hammer of Justice down on Absturge. Double Blinding Light. Beautiful play by Gorecki. WizK, Temporal Shields. Soaks up the hits and stabilizes. Both teams evening out now in this position. Kidney Shot on Smexin, but it's more for disruption than anything else. No crowd control on Gorecki. Curious to see how Absurge and WizK are going to push forward here. Are they going to engage? Peekaboo overextends. He's getting blasted down by that Lightning Lasso. Big Earth Shock. Absurge has to trade out Ultimate Sacrifice to stabilize.
All right, so in this situation now, they have forced out the trinket of Gorecki, they have forced out the trinket of Smexin, so not the worst case, not the worst situation here for the Golden Guardians, but they need to find more crowd control. WizK needs to try to push in and land something. Yeah, they got a Shadow Step kick. Absturge has his Hammer of Justice off cooldown, so he could go for that. And on the opposite end, Space Station Gaming, they want to 100 to 0 Peekaboo here. They want to potentially paralyze him and then one-shot him. Lightning Lasso comes out, gets counterspelled here. Excellently done there by WizK. Fist of Fury onto Peekaboo. Chun-Li getting Kidney Shot right now. And WizK has his Combust ready, so anytime WizK wants to get offensive on that mage, he has every tool in his arsenal to do so, but only a 25-second window on Gorecki's trinket. If Gorecki preemptively sacrifices the next setup, it could be big for Space Station Gaming. They're going to basically get all of their cooldowns back. And if I had to give somebody a lead right now, I would give a slight lead to Space Station Gaming. They're getting a Kidney Shot here onto Chun-Li. Big damage activated here by WizK with that combustion. Smexin trying to purge it right now, and he is purging the hot streaks at least. Now Peekaboo in a leg sweep, big Fist of Fury damage. Nice Dragon's Breath there by WizK, keeping him alive, keeping him safe. Now WizK gonna probably get hexed here, so he's gonna be out of the fight for a while. And now all cooldowns are back here for Space Station Gaming. All cooldowns are rotating back up for Golden Guardians, and they're just trying to find some kind of opening. They got a blind onto Gorecki, trinkets out of that one, and yeah, that's basically the only thing they've gotten so far. Peekaboo overextended, might just get deleted here. Trinkets into Hammer of Justice, gets dispelled and activates the Feint. Holding on to the Cloak of Shadows there. Peekaboo, super risky moves there, but he does stay alive with his trinket.
There's a sneaky dress there by Chun-Li, letting Peekaboo get super low and then almost is completely blowing him off the face of the map, but Peekaboo responds, gets the Feint off with his trinket, and that's a fair trade. I mean, Peekaboo, the most afraid he's going to be is no trinket with Chun-Li's Drestigath available. At least he lined those two up, so he knows when his trinket's back up, that's when Drestigath will be back up, and that's when he's going to have to play a little bit safe. And it seems like, I'm not sure the play that Golden Guardians are going for here. I mean, it appears to me that they're just sitting back, just attacking whatever's in the open, and maybe they'll try to win the game on mana, but we've seen with these swaps to Peekaboo that's going to be risky. I mean, if you put Peekaboo too deep into enemy territory and he's getting caught into, a Lightning Lasso, into a leg sweep, he can get taken down very quickly. So Golden Guardians are going to have to be very careful of that.
We'll see if they can set this up here. Leg sweep on Peekaboo. Absurge is rolling up. He's got that sacrifice if he needs it. He's holding on to it for now, feeling comfortable with the Vitality Conduit. Peekaboo stabilizes. WizK takes control of Smexin. Good defense by WizK. Gorecki, no Glaire's Medallion. They stun up Chun-Li, but now WizK caught in a lasso. Nobody really able to help him. WizK breaks out with every man for himself, looking to get on top of Gorecki, maybe find a Polymorph. Gorecki repositions. Peekaboo's looking for a re-stealth. Earthbind Totem snipes him, keeps him in combat. Nice play by Smexin. The Elemental Windwalker is looking good. I was actually expecting him to kind of get run over, but it's looking solid here into the Rogue Mage Paladin. I feel like the Golden Guardians are the ones who need to get something going here. And finally, damage onto Smexen. Gorecki responds, though, immediately with Avenging Wrath. His healing is going to be boosted up quite heavily. Mana about even between each side. No real advantage there as we move into Dampening. Full blind secured. Chun-Li already running away. Peekaboo ready to meet him. Looking for a sap. He's trying to line of sight the grapple weapon. Gets the sap. Gorecki trinkets sap. Is he going to get cheap shot on his trinket? No, Peekaboo's more than happy with just getting the Gladiator's Medallion out of the way. Switching to the Elemental Shaman. Stunning him up. Pulling away from the fight. Waiting for crowd control. I feel like it's just been so long since we've seen Gorecki in a polymorph. WizK's playing the game really passively. Maybe they're just banking on a dampening kill?
It looks like that is going to be the case, but I think the actual burst of Space Station Gaming is a little bit deadlier. If they can get like a big Earthshock dressed hit, maybe a Lightning Lasso Earthshock dressed, they could definitely just erase somebody. Whereas on the side of Golden Guardians, I don't think, if they're not getting polys on Gorecki, I don't see how they're just going to overwhelm them with damage like this. But maybe they have played the matchup and they have experience, and this is what works for them. WizK getting fisted by Chun-Li right now. Smokebomb gets dropped, kidney shots, Smexing gonna trinket out, and there's the combust, there's the meteor, big hit. You see WizK looking to get a couple of more extra pyros out here, but Smexin just trades his trinket for the Smokebomb. Didn't even have to use Astral Shift. Now kind of going to Peekaboo. Gets counterspelled on the Lightning Lasso. Peekaboo looking healthy, has every cooldown, so does Smexin outside of his trinket, but he traded that for a smoke bomb, so it's going to be completely fine. And this is the type of situation where the next kidney, you want to see it paired up with a Hammer of Justice, with Dragon's Breath or something. WizK is literally super free right now. He could just sheep Chun-Li, force out the Dispel, sheep him again, and then move in, look for a Dragon's Breath poly maybe onto the enemy healer, but he just wants to play passive, reset his combustion, and just wait for another opportunity maybe later on into the game here. I don't know. I think it's a risky game, though, when you're playing as an Ellie. At any point, you could just get one-shotted. It's so scary, that burst that Ellies have.
I mean, it definitely is. The consistent damage, too. I'm trying to check and see what Smexen is running for Corruption. And it looks like he's actually going for Versatile. So lots of versatility. All three of them are playing Dark Iron Dwarf. And as a result, I mean, WizK, he's not even using a Claw, which is really unstandard. But he realizes they're going to always have an answer for that. Big damage now into Chun-Li as Gorecki is forced to trinket at around 15% dampening. So Golden Guardians trying to make some plays, and I'm curious to see. I mean, for the Golden Guardians, is this passive playstyle going to end up paying off? We've said that Rogue Mage, similarly to Mage Lock, I mean, they can win early, they can win in the mid game, and they can also win in the late game. A lot of the time we see Rogue Mage Paladin win, it's off the back of just, you know, an instant Hammer of Justice, a Blinding Light, and big one-shot burst damage. So definitely scary moments here for Space Station Gaming, but so far they've been able to hold on. Gorecki's been able to maintain his mana, and Space Station Gaming is looking very durable.
All right, let's see if they can keep it up here. Peekaboo. Oh my goodness, again, the Dressigat drop combo. Absturge responds, though, saving the day with that Blessing of Sacrifice. Now trying to turn it around onto Chun. Absturge is rolling up. There's the Hammer of Justice. We need to see a Polymorph or a Blinding Light. Chun on the run. There's the Blinding Light. Can they chase him down? They're switching to Smexen instead. They don't want to go after Chun-Li, the Live Lord, switching to Smexen instead. I think it's a good decision. Full Polymorph. They could get Divine Shield, but they make a mistake of stacking up on a double leg sweep. Chun-Li looks to turn around the pressure, chasing down WizK. No sacrifice available. Good follow-up by Peekaboo with the Garou, but now he's grapple weapons. He could have almost closed it out there. That grapple weapon from Chun-Li was clutch. Absturge still locked down in the Blinding Light, but Smexen also in the kidney shot. Gorecki trades out the sacrifice. Back and forth between the Golden Guardians, Space Station Gaming, 9 minutes in.
Big push there, and this is exactly what they need to do. They got the Polymorph, they got the Blinding Light, and they got the CC chain that they needed. Peekaboo has everything right now in his arsenal. They forced out Gorecki's sacrifice there, forced out the Avenging Wrath as well, but Gorecki's going to have to trinket in 20 seconds. Peekaboo's going to have blind. You need to blind, force out Gorecki's trinket, and then look to set something.
Zico. Did we lose Ven too? Am I here?
No, I'm still here. I don't know where Zico went, but all right. 30% dampening at this point in the game. Smexon putting out some solid pressure as WizK might be swatted away. Big dress to Gav coming in from Chun-Li. Sorry about the audio issues, ladies and gentlemen, but we are going to keep this game underway. Smexon is going to be running away right now. Big damage coming in. Peekaboo with a nice cheap shot into Garrote's silence. Chun-Li going to have to peel. Beautiful Ring of Peace. And that might be enough to slow down Peekaboo. Blinding Light now onto Absurge. Lightning Lasso on Peekaboo. He has to be very, very careful. But with this Trinket, Cloak of Shadows, and Evasion, as long as he doesn't under-respond to the situation, he should be okay to survive. Big kidney shot now into Smexon as the Golden Guardians are looking to continue this assault. Gorecki, no Divine Shield, no Trinket into a full polymorph. Is there any more crowd control? Hammer of Justice. Nice crowd control there by the Golden Guardians, but the damage is just lacking a little bit. Smexon manages to hold on, and Gorecki now with the sacrifice with the Vitality Conduit should be able to easily stabilize Space Station Gaming, but at 35% dampening, Sid, sparks are starting to fly.
Stormkeeper for Smexon. He's going after WizK actually, while Chun goes after Peekaboo, trying to split up their damage, max out their DPS, and run Absterge out of mana. Perhaps win in dampening, but Smexon's caught in a stun. No Astral Shift. Smoke Bomb not available, so no big threat there. Lightning Lasso combo for Smexon, building up Maelstrom to get a fat Urshock there. Unfortunately, Peekaboo feints it and reduces a lot of its damage. Gorecki trying to power through the damage here. He's actually been whittled down a bit as well, but nice heals here, just picking himself back up around the corner. Stun over onto WizK as they're trying to burst him down. He temporal shields the Fist of Fury, blinks away from it. Good avoidance. Absterge is moving up here. Gorecki's charging to meet him in midfield, getting the first Hammer of Justice. Bold move by Gorecki, but it's definitely putting his team in a good position. Paralyzed to follow it up into a Cap Totem, potentially a Blinding Light. Double Blinding Light, beautiful combo. That's an Ice Block out from WizK. And that's definitely putting Space Station Gaming in a good position. Swap over to Peekaboo, Fist of Fury, Lightning Lasso, beautiful combo. Feint on low health. Abster's trying to power through. He has Avenging Wrath, pops that immediately here. It's more about efficiency than anything. He needs to be rotating through these Avenging Wraths to not spend too much mana. Gorecki caught in a full blind. Golden Guardians need to make a play with this, but Chun-Li is just avoiding every single situation. He catches Peekaboo in a stun lock, knocks him back out into midfield, though. A little unfortunate. If he had been able to knock him back behind the corner there, it might have been his life. Peekaboo with no Gliders Medallion is susceptible to Lightning Lasso, which they're currently committing. Big combo damage still into Peekaboo. Abster test sacrifice, but holding on to it. Feint looks like enough in this position, and I would have thought that Rogue Mage has the edge in this matchup, Venruki.
I mean, I just think a big part of why Space Station Gaming has been able to survive is just the way they built their characters. The triple Dark Iron Dwarf eliminates, the Obsidian Claw threat, the Maledict threat, and allows them to survive for quite some time. But Golden Guardians, I don't know if it's inexperience on this composition. It could be that Rogue Mage Paladin should be winning this matchup, but potentially not executing as well as they should. But honestly, the Golden Guardians, they've been doing a pretty good job, but WizK's got to be a little careful here. Absurge, of course, has a Divine Shield. He has Sacrifice if he needs it, but WizK is getting absolutely blasted by Chun-Li. Cauterized procs. Keep in mind, there's no Ice Block. Absurge does manage to connect the Sacrifice, but they are not out of it yet. Absurge still really struggling to get the healing going onto WizK, and at 50% dampening, he might never stabilize him again. Gorecki into crowd control. Smexon taking some damage. Good counter aggression here by the Golden Guardians.
All right, let's see if they can keep it up here. They've got Smoke Bomb. They could go for a power play, but they need to get through a Glidier's Medallion before that point. Absterge's mana is still holding out here, but Gorecki with a massive advantage. Smexon repositioning, trying to drag Peekaboo into a bad position. Chun-Li charges in onto WizK. He knows he's got a window here. Touch of Death coming up in 16. Absterge's in a paralyze. He Divine Shields it. He knows Peekaboo's in trouble. Caught in a Lightning Lasso. So Absterge's going to break out of crowd control with the Divine Shield. Use it to save his partners here in this position. Things are starting to unravel. Dampening is quite high at 53% between these teams. I'm not sure if Absterge can keep this up. His entire team being whittled down. Peekaboo has to use Evasion, but Smexon can chop right through that with Lava Burst after Lava Burst, Urshock after Urshock. Endless amounts of damage. They're stacked up on a Windwalker. Not what you want to see here for the Golden Guardians. They're pushing in. Gorecki going after Chun-Li. Trinkets out of the blind. They need to keep Chun aggressive. He pre-touch a Karma's the Smoke Bomb. Clutch play here by Chun. Absterge doesn't go for the bop. He's holding on to it, but really, what is he holding on to it for? Touch of Death was already committed. They might have been able to actually crunch Chun-Li. They're still crunching him. Sacrifice has to trade out. Peekaboo stuns up Gorecki. Sets up Absterge for a double Blinding Light. They're chasing down Chun-Li. Peekaboo looks to connect and close this out. Can Peekaboo take him out? Pop in the Battle Masters. Flying Serpent Kick back to midfield. Drops the Dressigat. Looks to KO WizK. Such a close call here in what could be the final moments. Gorecki Divine Shields, but even with Divine Shield, it may not be enough. Chun-Li holds on by a thread. Absterge getting that big damage judgment in. Trying to push Chun-Li down. Can he get enough damage to do it? Big damage from Whiskey off to the side. They pop Chun on such low health. They rob Absurge away, and now Whiskey on the back foot. If Chun recovers here, I am terrified for the Golden Guardians.
Yeah, buddy. Oh, well, welcome back. Oh, big damage on Peekaboo. He does have the trinket. He does have the evasion if he needs it. Focus Shadows, or doesn't have the evasion, but he does trinket, and this means Peekaboo is going to be exceptionally vulnerable. Goes for the kick onto Gorecki. Playing very offensive here is Peekaboo. Full stun on Gorecki. Still no trinket available. If we see any crowd control, he gets denied. Good shutdown there by Smexen, denying the Ring of Frost, denying the Polymorph, and Chun-Li is still on the run. He's got 10 seconds left on that Touch of Karma, and it looks like Space Station Gaming, they're going to manage to get out of this one, and now I am so afraid for Peekaboo. With no trinket, that next leg sweep coming up in about 20 seconds for Chun-Li could easily be the game.
I cannot believe Chun-Li survived that, and Whiskey looking like he might just go down here. Smacks in as well. Everybody's taking so much damage. Whiskey forced into the ice block, overlap with the temporal shield. Now big damage on the Peekaboo.
Nice
The
counter
lightning
spell.
lasso, nice counter spell secured, but Peekaboo's gonna go down first. Do they have the damage to get the cross kill? No. The sacrifice comes through from Gorecki, and I'm so glad that I came back and I got to see how Chun survived that setup, because
You got to see all the
To take the
exciting
kill?
moments here at 70 minutes. I was hyping up the whole time. It just comes back in for the final moment. I see how it is. I see
my
how it
bad,
is.
my bad. Just came in
Space
and
Station
yoinked
Gaming
that.
taking that game 1 victory up against Golden Guardians. They're up 1-0 now in this best of 5 series. Golden Guardians now going to pick their map pretty soon here, Zico. Maybe, actually, you know what? Since you were out, I won't ask you this question. I'll ask somebody else. I'll ask Ben Ruki. Where did it
Thank you.
start to sort of turn around? Yeah, I got you. To Space Station Gaming. Like, where was the turning moment for them to secure that victory?
Well, to be honest with you, it didn't feel like Space Station Gaming was ever really losing that game. They always had cooldowns. They were always in a really solid spot. And the Golden Guardians, they tried to play a very passive game. They almost were able to take down Smexen, but it just didn't seem like they were going for those big crowd control chains often enough. They were happy to just kind of sit back, and maybe they were kind of waiting to see. Maybe we can just do damage. Maybe that's going to be enough to like push them over and dampening. And sometimes as Rogue Mage Paladin, that's what you want to do. You just literally put out as much damage as possible, just do as much burst and kidney shots, and you'll eventually secure a victory. But we're so close on Chun-Li. I mean, that's got to be a little bit disappointing for the Golden Guardians. Chun-Li, any other Windwalker monk, I swear, would have died in that situation. He had a moment where Peekaboo was there to finish him off, and Chun-Li switches from using his Vivify to crackling Jade Lightning to knock Peekaboo away. Just those little plays to avoid damage is what ultimately kept him alive. And I mean, Space Station Gaming really showing that they're here to play with this composition.
Yeah, now they are just up 1-0. This is once again best of 5. Where do we think though that they're going to go next, Stupities? Any idea if we're going to see maybe a change of composition here on either side for these teams?
I think if Whiskey is going to stay on Mage, they should go to small maps, like Hook Point, get on top of the Paladin. They have more control. Like, they should win on control. Trying to drag it out into dampening and play it slow, I feel like it doesn't do them any favors. But that, or they need to switch comp entirely. How do you feel about Shadow Priest Rogue into this? Do you think it would stand? I think it would be tough. It would be really tough. Mage Rogue is probably better on paper, but I'm not sure if Golden Guardians Rogue Mage is going to be able to take out Space Station Gaming.
This is very interesting to me. This is one of the first times we've seen a rogue use versatility. So Peekaboo opting to drop a lot of that offense via Gushing Wounds and put on just more versatility and Surging Vitality. So kind of wanting to survive in those stun lock combos, I suppose. Potentially those Drestagas would have just absolutely just crushed him if he didn't have that amount of versatility. But it felt like they were definitely lacking a little bit of damage that game, but maybe they don't want to risk it, and they'd rather just, be as durable as possible and try to just rely on that crowd control to secure a victory.
Yeah, do we feel like, this is kind of, these two teams also seem to be sort of neck and neck. Do we feel like this is going to be another one of those series that we could potentially be seeing go to Game 5, Supties?
Definitely, especially if it's this specific comp matchup. They've locked in Ashamane, so they're not going to the small map like I thought they would for Rogue Mage. I Are they really going to try and dampen Ellie Windwalker? If I'm Space Station Gaming, pretty sure I play the same thing. It's a really good map for Chun-Li to survive on, so I don't need to worry about him dying early. It's a good map all around for them to be able to just drag the Rogue Mage around. So are the Golden Guardians going to play Ellie Destro? Because I know Jellybeans has been practicing his Ellie a lot. Like he went through all the gearing, he got all his crafted items, he farmed all his sockets, he got all his gushing wounds on his Ellie. Like I know that he's been putting time into it.
Why do you farm his sockets?
So so Destro Ellie on Tolvaron, or sorry, on Asha mains for Golden Guardians makes sense in my mind, if that's what they're trying to set up. And I know that they've been working on it. And they've already shown that they're willing to play Rogue Mage, which is something they've been working on, so I don't see why they wouldn't be. I know Absurge on his stream plays Destro Ellie all the time, even with other people. So that's what this is saying to me, at least, that the Golden Guardians want to try and set up a Destro Ellie game.
How do we feel like WizK did on his mage, Zico?
Well, I think he could be a little bit more aggressive, but in general, I thought he did a pretty good job. I mean, it's his most recent ult, right? He's not going to be the big playmaker on that mage. He's just going to be a mage, survives, counterspells the lasso, does the burst with the combust when he needs to, and tries to go when his team basically can set him up. So, I don't know. I think, obviously, if I wanted to criticize him super hard as a mage and compare him to like Maro or something, I could. But I think for the position that he's in, yeah, I mean, it's a little bit unfair, right? And I also think they're going up against Space Station Gaming, one of the absolute best teams in North America, and he was able to hold his own. So, I'm glad that he's playing this and he's putting time into the Fire Mage. But this is the first time we see a Fire Mage lose, though, to a non-Fire Mage.
No, it's definitely really cool to see WizK on a Fire Mage. They just locked in their composition, Peekaboo on the Rogue, Absurge on that Holy Paladin, and do we feel like that this is a good choice here? They've stuck with WizK, playing his ult here. How do you think they're going to do here in game number 2? Do we want to make any predictions then?
Well, what I'm going to be curious to see is if the Golden Guardians opt for a little bit more pressure, so Peekaboo taking a little bit more risk in terms of gearing and maybe going for the gushing wounds. If that happens, I feel like we could see a little bit faster of a game. If that doesn't happen, when they go for the versatility build once again, I think it's likely we see Golden Guardians try to kind of implement the exact same strategy. What makes it difficult and makes it seem like they don't have that much damage in their goes is the Dark Iron Dwarf. Dark Iron Dwarf is really strong. In the current meta, Obsidian Claw and stacking Obsidian Claws and Maledicts is a really great way to push an enemy over the edge. So if you get crowd control on Gorecki and you use 2 Obsidian Claws on Smexen, that damage becomes very overwhelming. But on the tournament realm, a lot of these players are opting to go Dark Iron Dwarf against Rogue Mage, and that way when their healer goes into crowd control and Obsidian Claw lands, they just use Dark Iron Dwarf, remove that burst entirely. And on the live ladder, those trinkets, Maledict, Obsidian Claw, Drestagath, those are major win conditions. Like a lot of games will end because of that trinket, and that is kind of taken away. So the game gets slowed down just a little bit, and this composition Space Station Gaming has could work out a lot better in a tournament realm environment, as opposed to if they were playing, Horde on the live realm. Smexen all of a sudden doesn't have that, and he just gets completely ran over by those trinkets every 2 minutes.
Okay, well, the teams are going to be getting ready here in just a moment. Space Station Gaming up 1-0 versus Golden Guardians here. What do you think, though, that we're seeing WizK here once again on the Mage, Zico? What do you think their strategy is going into Space Station Gaming? Do you think that they've learned anything from game 1 and we're going to see them sort of maybe change that opener a little bit, or what's their win condition now that they have 1 game under their belt?
Well, I feel like what they did, it kind of worked. It's just Chun-Li on that Windwalker monk. He's so insane at surviving. I mean, he just played it so well to live that 1 go when he was like 2%, where he got the Crackling Jade to knock Peekaboo back before he could get in range, and he vivified himself, and he poured behind the pillar, and barely survived. I'm really confident that, any other monk dies there, and we wouldn't even be having this conversation, right? So I feel like Golden Guardians had an okay game. It was a really close one. They could do the same thing, but I mean, if I was playing the Mage, I would look to set up a little bit more aggro setups. I would go for a little bit more crowd control, and also probably go a little Gush Rogue Like maybe Peekaboo can play like one defensive trinket and play Gush instead of going full Versa, something like that. Because I really think Peekaboo needs to be the man of the year and the team.
Yep, and we will shortly find out here in this Space Station Gaming versus Golden Guardian series. Space Station Gaming up 1-0 versus Ashmane's Fall, or in Ashmane's Fall.
Why did Peekaboo go full verse and not conflict? I mean, if the goal was to try and not die in lasso, and I would have thought that you would want conflict major, and then if they were going to like fully dampen, doesn't that seem weird to anyone else?
I think Reaping Flames is really good, so it's not entirely bizarre, but yeah, I mean, if that is your only goal, maybe he just feels like it's too overkill. Like giving up gushing and reaping is just you're just neutering your damage, and Peekaboo didn't want to do that. But I mean, you can't really blame him. You can't really expect to survive much longer than 70% dampening. So it went okay. Full blind now to go Reki. Will trinket out of that. It's a fair trade. And Chun-Li looking to be pressured early on. And Chun-Li actually opted to switch out of the Dark Iron Dwarf, but he's actually playing human now. And I'm kind of wondering if we see WizK adapt with his trinket. No, he's just playing the Psych Shredder as well as the emblem. So just not using those big, powerful on-use trinkets, just going for the consistency of that Psych Shredder.
Okay, Lightning Lasso on Peekaboo. This is the big combo. Are they going to drop a Drestigath here? They're holding on to it. They're trying to bait some other cooldowns. Peekaboo's Feint is going to deflect the assault. Chun-Li switches to WizK. WizK baits Chun-Li out into the open. They could go for a smoke bomb out here deep in midfield. There's the smoke bomb on the kidney shot. Gareki actually charging in for crowd control. They trade Karma. Are they going to pop off Karma here? Absurge is a tough choice. Looks like he's playing it safe. They're just trying to kill through Karma, maybe? They have actually busted through the Karma. Chun-Li's dangerously low. Stun after stun here onto Gareki into a silence. They grapple weapon Peekaboo. Chun's trying to catch some heals. Peekaboo's harassing Gareki. A full polymorph. Chun-Li's still in trouble. On the run once again. This is where I'm a little bit uncertain with the map choice.
No.
Oh, full stun sacrifice. I think he's
that was
gonna be
an
okay.
absolute disaster. Chun-Li had such a good paralyze on Peekaboo, and it would have avoided that situation entirely. They could have held on to sacrifice, but it got immediately damaged by Smexen. So a bit of a miscommunication there by Space Station Gaming, and that gets Golden Guardians, honestly, a big defensive cooldown out of the way.
And now we get another setup here on the Chun-Li. They get the Hammer of Justice into the Blinding Light. Chun-Li porting to safety here, gets the Vivifies, but Peekaboo there behind him, shadow stepping to Gareki just to get to his target. He actually instantly triggers out of that leg sweep, realizing he was out of Absturge's line of sight there. Now he's going to get back into Absturge's line of sight. Chun-Li feels very confident in the situation to just be able to go aggressive, and this kidney shot means that Chun-Li is going to be full HP and he can go for WizK and look to make his own setup if he wants to. He just placed up his Transcendence right there. Now he's going to look for WizK, but WizK blinks back, so he doesn't want to overextend too far and drag his own healer out of the pillar. He's going to go for Peekaboo instead. No trinket there for Peekaboo for a little bit longer. Fist of Fury coming through. WizK just spamming out fireballs. There's the kidney. Where's the combust? Not going to be found. There it is. Very late on that combust. And it looks like they're not going to be able to get too much force from it as a result of that. And now Chun-Li, Smexen, they're pushing forward. They're looking to get a setup here onto WizK. I would expect a paralyze to happen onto Absturge. There it is. Gareki is in position, and Hammer of Justice to follow it up. Absturge might need to use his trinket, that human racial trinket, but no, he's going to sit through the Hammer of Justice, and there it is, blind into what? They get the sap there. Gareki might need to trinket it, but Chun-Li already porting away to safety. Has his touch of karma. Gareki is going to be able to sit through that crowd control chain. No problem. Vitality Conduit coming through as well. And now Gareki actually getting swapped to, but a nice leg sweep from Chun-Li. He's going to reverse the pressure onto Peekaboo. He needs to be extremely careful here. Can't be too stacked with his healer in a situation like that. And it looks like both teams are going to be surviving these setups here and keeping most of their cooldowns still in the spellbook.
I would have thought if the goal was to kill Chun-Li that they should pick a map. I feel like this map is benefiting Chun-Li more than it's hindering him. I mean, the goal is to bait him out in the open, but unless they kill him in the stun, I mean, he's going to get so far from every engagement. They have to 100-0 him in a stun. He's full versatility, he's conflict and strife. He's making it as least likely as possible for that situation to occur. So curious to see if the Golden Guardians can bait Chun into a bad position here, or if he's just going to continue to be an immortal Windwalker monk here. well, easily the most difficult Windwalker, I would say, to kill in the game at the moment. Peekaboo stunned up by that Lightning Lasso. Nice positioning by Smexon so he can't be interrupted as well. Getting the full damage off. Still trying to potentially win on mana and damage deeper into dampening, the main goal of the Elemental Shaman for some time in World of Warcraft arena history. So it's kind of up to the Golden Guardians to be able to navigate this one. And Chun gets his portal repositioned so he can play out in midfield and escape if he needs to. Double leg sweep. Beautiful timing here by Chun. Nice Stormkeeper combo from Smexon as well, lobbing in a ton of damage. Absterge recovers with Vitality Conduit. They drop Smoke Bomb on Chun. He's not stunned. A little bit odd. Going for the Smoke Bomb there. Chun's just going to pull back to the pillar. Shadow Step kick over onto Gorecki. Peekaboo's going in deep here, trying to chase down the enemy team. How do we feel about switching to Gorecki at any point? Like if he trinkets a blind or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's very...
Peekaboo. Oh, it's a scary situation. That was a really nice knock on that Lightning Lasso, getting Peekaboo behind the pillar, but a full kidney shot does end up landing. Full blind on a Gorecki as well. We'll see if Peekaboo can ultimately survive. The grapple weapon comes in from Chun-Li. Peekaboo looking like he will be able to survive with a Vanish. And now it looks like it is Chun-Li who's taking the brunt of the damage. But both these Paladins, their mana is looking good. And I feel like they could make a swap on Gorecki, but it would have to be executed perfectly. You'd need to see like double blinding light on Chun-Li and Smexon. If they don't have cross crowd control on Smexon and Chun-Li, I feel like they're going to be able to peel for it a little bit too easily.
Yeah, let's see if they can set something up here. Getting the Lightning Lasso on the Peekaboo. Gonna follow it up with the Fist of Fury, but he does have the Feint active and rolling. So Peekaboo not going to be taking too much damage in that situation. Full Hex secured onto Whiskey as Chun-Li gets kidney shot. So that's going to keep Chun completely safe here. Smexon loading up that Stormkeeper. He has big damage here. He's going to unleash it very, very shortly here onto somebody. There is the Paralyze onto Absterge. Who are they going to go for? Peekaboo or Whiskey? Peekaboo seems to be the target, but he's just doing a great job kiting around here, making sure that he stays alive without having to use his trinket, without having to use any defense there. Activates the evasion and big damage onto Whiskey. He's going to proc the Cauterize right there, and that was the damage that Smexon had loaded up right there. Big win there for Space Station Gaming. Finally, 10% dampening into the game.
All right, let's see if they can keep it up here. Chun-Li, Smexon repositioning. Happy to get the Cauterize out of the way here at a critical moment, so Ice Block will be the next layer that they look to pull away. Smexon stunned up by Peekaboo, but once again, conflict and strife on Chun-Li and Smexon. They're not going to take too much damage in Kidney Shot. I would love to see more swaps to Gorecki, but they can't really on this map. Nice counterspell by Whiskey. Going for the Combustion. Smexon not able to purge it off, but he does use Grounding Totem, so it bought him time to purge it later on. Combustion's not really getting a lot of value so far. Whiskey blinking back behind the pillar, trying to line of sight, but gets pinned with Chun-Li. Not exactly who you want to be pinned next to. Blinding Light onto Absterge. Lightning Last one to Peekaboo. 2 targets low on health. Absterge pops Avenging Wrath, looking to try and recover here in a quick fashion. Stabilizing Peekaboo. And then pulling up Whiskey. Whiskey with good defensive positioning here. Dragging the fight out into the open. But I still can't help but feel that this map pick isn't really doing Golden Guardians any favors.
I mean, it definitely isn't. Whiskey is just positioned so far away. I'm kind of surprised. I feel like with the amount of damage we saw in Chun-Li early on, I feel like Golden Guardians could afford to play this matchup a lot more aggressive. Stun on to Gorecki. Peekaboo literally just setting up his team entirely. Blinding Light out of the stun. Chun-Li, Touch of Karma, as well as Fortifying Brew are forced out, and he's going to be playing very defensive. But this is what I'm talking about. It seems like if they get the crowd control rolling and they get the damage onto Chun-Li, Golden Guardians, they have a ton of pressure, and maybe if they geared just a little bit more offensively, that pressure on Chun-Li could be even more immense. But so far, it's working out okay for the Golden Guardians. If they can kind of continue these rinse-repeat setups, and Peekaboo can set up the team, then I think this could be a win for the Golden Guardians. But Whiskey is playing extremely passive right now. He does have that Combustion, and it looks like he might even go for it. He does, and Smexon's looking for the Purge, and it is immediately purged off. And I just feel like the Golden Guardians on the Rogue Mage Paladin, it's just a little bit uncoordinated. Like, I think they could do a little bit better job with their offense when they do manage to go for those all-in pushes. It just feels like they're not on the same page.
I think Whiskey has to be a little bit more aggressive. They don't have the damage from those gushings to kind of carry their momentum, so they need to have good, clean crowd control chains. And there it is. Whiskey gets the polymorph. Nice. Kidney shot secured. Big damn here with the meteor. He goes for the Ring of Frost after he gets kicked there. Peekaboo gonna follow it up with the DR Sap into the triple DR Sheep, into what else? Hammer of Justice. Now they're going after Smexen, while Chun is one ducking for cover. Drestigath connects onto Smexen, forcing out the Astral Shift, and now they have 2-point pressure here on the side of Golden Guardians, meaning they can go after Smexen, they can go after Chun-Li, and that's going to make it a lot more tricky for Chun-Li to pick when to teleport out and play defensive and when to go in and be aggressive. Gorecki gets blinded, trinkets out of that one immediately. Whiskey blinks the Ring of, or the Fist of Fury, Dragon's Breath, Chun-Li looking for some polymorphs. There you go, full sheep secured onto Gorecki, no trinket available. Scorch is coming out, big damage here onto Smexen, but the grapple weapon and the Vivifies keeping him in the game right now. Smoke Bomb and Ring of Frost on the edge there. Gorecki actually running into it on the side there. He does have his sacrifice, might have to use it here. Divine Favor could get spell stolen and counterspelled, but it looks like Smexen is just going to kite, use that Lightning Lasso, Divine Favor. It's going to be enough. Peekaboo takes a huge hit. Trinkets, uses the feint, and he is going to be able to hold on to the cloak as well as the evasion. But Golden Guardians, slowly but surely, having to use some of their defense here, but they did have good pressure onto Smexen, but that means Chun-Li is going to be able to do basically whatever he wants here for the remainder of the game.
Why isn't Whiskey playing Greater Pyro? I feel like they're literally just ignoring him attacking Peekaboo. Right now he could be casting Greater Pyro instead of Fireball. I feel like Flame Cannon's not getting the most amount of value. They're almost just entirely ignoring him because he's not running Greater Pyro. I feel like maybe that could have made Ashamane's work better for them, but right now they can just bully Peekaboo. And if they're able to just focus Peekaboo and not let him get anything going, and he's the one that's kind of just calling the shots for the team, it's going to be really hard to win this. They've managed to at least stay alive here to 36% dampening. They're still trying to push through. Polymorph landed onto Gorecki. No Glaire's Medallion. They pop off with the Combustion. Grounding Totem purges from Smexen every time. Clean play from Smexen. He's just totally shutting WizK down at every Combustion turn. Gorecki is still stuck in a stun for now. Smexen down at about 80% health. Stun on Absterge. Gorecki setting up for a Blinding Light. He gets intercepted by a Polymorph. Nice stall. Double leg sweep here by Chun-Li. Really tearing in over onto Peekaboo. Is there a Lightning Lasso to follow up the leg sweep? Peekaboo pre-faints with Vitality Conduit. He's going back to full health. Spacestation Gaming in a solid position, though, with a mana advantage. And No Glaire's Medallion on Peekaboo. Chun-Li chasing Peekaboo down, Blinding Light on Absterge. He has a Divine Shield and Sacrifice immediately on that exchange. And that's a very important combo of cooldowns to be using at this point. Spacestation Gaming have a big opening.
Ooh, can they get the crowd control, though? Hammer of Justice on a Gorecki. He's already used his trinket, so a full polymorph would be absolutely devastating. Unfortunately, WizK, he does find it, and now Smexen's going to be in some trouble. We're at 42% dampening. It's an immediate Astral Shift. Nicely done there. WizK gets the follow-up polymorph. No, it's going to be Peekaboo who uses his Vanish for a sap, and they're just going for it. A full Blinding Light. If they can get the Divine Shield Sacrifice overlap with the Astral Shift, that would be absolutely huge. But Chun-Li is just throwing in so many off heals. Big Drestigath lands from Peekaboo and Smexen. This damage is really starting to add up. Spacestation Gaming falling apart just a little bit, but they did manage to hold on. And Gorecki with the Divine Shield, with the Sacrifice, should have more than enough utility to survive. Spacestation Gaming will be retreating behind the pillar, trying to bait Peekaboo in once again.
And it looks like Smexen has a lot of damage here. He's actually just going to use that Stormkeeper on to WizK. He's not going to be able to do too much. I think he just wants to keep his pressure going so Absterge can't sneak away and drink. In a situation like this, Peekaboo once again has his trinket for that next stun. Presumably, he's going to have to use it very, very shortly. Chun-Li's looking for the leg sweep. This is where I would anticipate Peekaboo using it, but Absterge is not crowd controlled, so he's going to sit through it. And I don't know if that's a mistake, Peekaboo, because now he is getting blasted right now, and he's going to Shadow Step on 1%, get the Cloak of Shadow off. Can they get the HP back up, though? Absterge has a lot of work to do here. He gets a Smoke Bomb dropped there onto the Vitality Conduit. It doesn't work in Smoke Bomb, actually. Peekaboo going to use that feint as well here for the Fist of Fury, and he is going to recover there, holding on to his trinket, but that was such a greedy play there. I cannot believe he actually survived with that. And now it looks like Gorecki has all the mana in the world to top off Smexen, and they're going for the double blind. Can they get any follow-up, though? Chun in a kidney, going to trinket out of that with his human racial, and now the reversal of the pressure here. Hammer of Justice on the Upsturge. Whiskey could potentially proc his Cauterize here. They could potentially kill Peekaboo here. They get the Blinding Light. Upsturge with the Hand of Sacrifice going to keep Peekaboo alive here for a little bit longer. But the Golden Guardians out of mana, out of cooldown. They only have that bubble really to work with at this point. They need to get something going fast because Space Station Gaming, they have everything right now in the spellbook.
Oh, they've got them all stacked up at the moment. Golden Guardians just continuing to push Chun-Li back, trying to take him out here. Will he be able to survive? Very low on health. Double Dragon's Breath by Whiskey, setting up for double Ring of Frost. Whiskey shuts him down with a Thunderstorm into a Hex, but the Polymorph slipped through prior to it. Gorecki has a Divine Shield, goes for a Divine Favor, stuns up Absturge. Absturge has a Divine Shield as well. This is coming down to the absolute wire at almost 60% dampening. I would say that Chun-Li is slightly ahead on cooldowns if they continue to trade evenly. Whiskey with no Ice Block. Absturge basically no mana left. Smex and Chun-Li. Gorecki desperately recovering at the pillar with the Avenging Wrath. If they get back to full health, they can make a massive push and overwhelm the Golden Guardians, and they are slowly but surely restoring themselves back to full health. Chun-Li rolls up, tries to engage. Peekaboo cheap shots him, likely switching to Smexen. Shadow Step over for the kidney shot. Meteor drops in here by Whiskey with the combustion, just trying to get damage out, but with Avenging Rats from Gorecki and no crowd control, he should easily heal through that combustion. Absturge into Paralyzed Lightning Lasso. Is there a Drestagath? This could be a big combo. Huge damage. Absturge barely saves him, but they overlap Cloak of Shadows with Sacrifice. They switch over to Whiskey. They could burn him down into Cauterize range. Absturge so fortunate here that his Avenging Wrath has come off cooldown. He's going to have massive healing for a couple of seconds to keep his team aggressive here on top of Smexen. Exactly when they need it. Absturge charges in, but gets intercepted with Hammer of Justice. Does Gorecki have a Blinding Light? He doesn't have a Blinding Light. Peekaboo's caught in the light sweep. There's absolutely no way Peekaboo makes it out alive here. Whiskey's doing everything that he can. He polymorphs Chun. He double dragons, but it's not enough. Smexen slips through the cracks with that Earth Shock, moving to match point.
That's going to be a 2-0 for this series. Space Station Gaming up 2-0, and they only need one more game to send Golden Guardians, I guess not out of the bracket, but you know what I mean. They're going to lose this series if they lose this whole next game. So well played by Space Station Gaming. Now it is certainly the pressure is on for Golden Guardians, and my question is, what is their next move, Zico?
To move on up. Now, I don't know. Probably swapping comps at this point. I like that they're trying the Whiskey Mage, but I do think they need to put it back into the lab a little bit longer. Then they're going to be extremely scary with that. So I think for now, go back to the Rogue Shadow Priest Paladin, play that one game, see what you can do with that. And then if you lose, well, the Rogue Mage didn't look awful. Like, you had real kill windows several times in both of the games that you've played so far. Just practice it a little bit more, figure out, maybe how you want to approach the matchup, how you want to do the setups, how Whiskey can do a little bit more damage. And you're going to be able to do really well if you're the Golden Guardians with this comp. I really like that they're practicing it and that they're actually comfortable enough to bring it out. It just didn't look good enough to be one of the best teams in North America.
Any comment on the match results here, Ben?
Well, I kind of want to see. Honestly, what I would like to see is, I feel like Whiskey, Peekaboo, and Absurge could afford this last game to play a little bit more aggressive. Like, I want to see the Gushing brought back in. I want to see Maledict brought in. I want to see Claw brought in. And, I mean, just stagger them. Even if we're playing against a Dark Iron Dwarf or a Dwarf, whatever Smexen is right now, he can remove it one time. But if you get a crowd control chain, you throw in a Maledict, he uses Stone Form. The next one, then you use a Claw. And I just want to see their team play a little bit more aggressive, because it seems like that's their specialty, is playing like that really hyper-aggressive play style, going for crowd control, keeping the enemy team on the back foot. And I'm not convinced. I mean, after watching that game, the last two games, it seems like they actually do have good pressure when they get their crowd control rolling. And if they had just a little bit more damage with the offensive trinkets and with Gushing Wounds, that might be the tipping point, and that might be what they need to keep them on the back foot and actually get a win.
Did you kill this? Did you kill a mosquito, Zico? Did you get it?
I don't know. I sprayed him with a cologne bottle, and he looked like it hit him. He got a little, you could tell he was like a little groggy.
It wasn't a crit.
And then he flew off. I don't know. I think it I dotted him, and then now he's like suffering somewhere.
Yeah.
If anybody If anybody heard any noises during that game, Zika was literally trying to kill a mosquito during that match.
It was a big
But
one. Like it was like this. It was a fat one.
a mosquito that big. All right. But you know what? You stayed professional, and hopefully we can get that mosquito down for the next match. And hopefully Golden Guardians can win a game for this next match if they want to, or this next game in this match if they want to stay in the running here. And it looks like Dalaran Sewers has been locked in. Space Station Gaming sticking with that Windwalker Ellie composition. Now Golden Guardians is going to pick their composition. And I mean, I guess the question is, do they keep WizK on that Mage Supatees, or do they go, does he switch back to Shadow Priest and maybe play something that's a little bit more comfortable for them?
I kind of feel like Shadow Priest would get owned.
Mm-hmm.
I think Rogue Mage is actually the best comp they have, but I don't know. A Rogue without Gushing Wounds, I feel like it's like the only time we've ever seen it. It makes sense to me because Ellie is going to destroy you, but then play Conflict, drag it all the way into Dampening, like maybe try and win with Greater Pyro since they're focusing the Rogue so heavily. If they really want to dampen, but I don't even think they need to. I would love to see an aggressive bop, push in, stand on top of the monk, and just play a little bit less afraid. I don't want to say that they're playing afraid because I think they're purposely trying to dampen and drag the fight on. But I don't know. I'd like to see them get in there, try and close the game out, because it's 2 games in a row now where they've tried to drag it on and it hasn't worked.
And then Space Station Gaming, obviously, they're in a really good spot here now. They only need one more game to win this whole series, up 2-0 here. Do they really need to can they just, I mean, I guess it depends on what Golden Guardians locks in here, Zika, but what do they need to do? Do they just keep doing, I guess, what they're doing for these first couple of games? Like, they're playing pretty cleanly here.
Yeah, well, I if they're going to play Rogue Mage, I want to see Gushing, because essentially what's happening is every leg sweep, I'm completely fine with this. They looked great with this yesterday against the Team Mystery Org, able to pick up 2 wins, but they were down 0-2 at the time, almost got the reverse sweep, not quite though. This is essentially RPS, but with like an actual good healer. So I like this from Golden Guardians. It doesn't feel like it's too far off from, what we know them for. If I want to see more of the Rogue Mage, but I want to see it with Gushing, because every leg sweep you're gonna trinket attack or you're gonna trinket evasion, right? So just play Gushing and do that, right? And you have an infinite rotation there, and you're gonna have more dam during your goes. So I want to see them practice that a little bit more and bring it back potentially next week.
Okay, well, now that we can see that composition, we're having WizK swap back onto that Shadow Priest Peekaboo on the Rogue Supatees. What's their win condition here? Who's their focus target up against Space Station Gaming?
And they got to be. I feel like WizK is not going to have a good time. He's fighting Shadow Resist Aura. That's going to reduce all. Maybe that's also why Peekaboo's not running Gushing. He doesn't want the Shadow Resist Aura getting value there. I feel like it's still a lot of value even with the aura, but I feel like they definitely have to run it now with the Shadow Priest on the team. I don't know. I'm curious to see what they do. Do they want to just go full conflict build like Space Station Gaming, see what happens, deepen dampening? Are they going to set up? The main problem is that Smexen can Tremor Totem Mind Bombs, so they'll have a break in that crowd control chain, like the Silence Mind Bomb, Hammer of Justice. Space Station Gaming have ways to break it out. And there's the Man of the Hour. There's Smexen on our screen. Elemental Shaman repping here in North America. He's kind of flexing on the Golden Guardians right now. I feel like he completely owned WizK in that last game. Like every combust, grounding, perched, every single one. I actually don't think WizK even had combustion on his bar because Smexen was playing so good.
Yeah, he just took it off.
Yeah. Literally.
What?
Yeah. Removed it from his UI. But yeah, it is. This is an interesting one. I mean, for the Golden Guardians, I feel like I almost feel like what's going to happen is that the Golden Guardians are going to win this one, then they're going to win the next game, and then they're going to lose.
Oh man!
And then they're going to do the same thing where they're like, man, we should have just picked the right composition, because that seems to be a big theme for the Golden Guardians. But let's see what they can get done with the Shadow Priest Rogue, and I'm going to be taking a look at Peekaboo's build to see if he is going to be switching to the Gushing, and he is playing really, really aggressive. But immediately, Peekaboo is forced to use that Gladiator's Medallion, taking big burst very early on.
Let's see if they can keep it up here. Greki cheap shot. Are they going to follow up with any crowd control? Nope. Kidney shot on Smexen. Silence. This is the mind bombs, I would imagine, on the silence. So they need to get ready. No mind bomb. Okay, not going for it. Fiend down for WizKid. WizKid mixing in some Expedient as well, not going full versatility. So Golden Guardians are risking the biscuit here on match point, playing a very aggressive build on their roster. Oh, a full Hex slips in by Smexen. There's no way to remove that without the Mage. Peekaboo could be in trouble here with no Gladiator's Medallion. If they had a stun lock there, that could have been Divine Shield Force from Absurge, but Peekaboo stabilizing with the feint. They switch over to WizK. Earthquake to keep Peekaboo in combat if he tries to retreat. Smexen is just owning Peekaboo right now. Look at this pressure. I mean, he's going to have to jump off the side and hide from Smexen for a moment. Buy time for Absurge to pick him up with the Avenging Wrath. Absurge recovers. Chun-Li now taking some hits by WizK. They switch back to WizK out in midfield. They go for the Lightning Lasso, but Silence Kidney Shot. Nice pre-grapple weapon on the Kidney Shot by Chun. Is there going to be a Tremor here? Looks like they killed off the Tremor Totem by Smexen before the Mind Bomb. That was a nice play by the Golden Guardians. Both these teams playing insane here.
Yeah, and this is exactly what we want to see. Gushing from Peekaboo. Trinket the first time. Now he got the second leg sweep. He got Sacrifice. Next time he gets stunned. Trinket Evasion. Oh, he just used Evasion there, actually. So he could still Trinket Feint it or Trinket Cloak, and he should still be fine, though. As long as he gets that Trinket for the next leg sweep, which he will, he's going to be completely fine. And they're going to have a lot more kill pressure once they actually get that pressure rolling. Right now, Golden Guardians just trying to recover here. WizK now in Void form, looking for some big damage here. Maybe a Silence going to be following up the next Kidney Shot here. Looks like WizK is thinking about it, but decides against it. They want to get a little bit better position. They want to get a little bit more pressure before they decide to really start dumping those crowd controls here into that Kidney Shot. There it is, Kidney into the Silence. Let's see, WizK could potentially look for the Fear here. Chun-Li is actually making it extremely difficult. Ooh, nice dress there by Chun, but WizK will be able to brush that off, walk back. Peekaboo taking a decent amount of damage. Trinket, potentially, no. He's going to be sitting through that. I think it was the art from the Lightning Lasso, so Peekaboo is going to be completely safe now for the next minute, and he can basically be as aggressive as he wants. It doesn't look too bad right now for the Golden Guardians.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not. Full blind on to Gorecki. His Trinket is up now, but obviously not going to be trading it out. Kind of lined up perfectly there with that blind. Chun-Li into a Kidney Shot, but with the Fortifying Brew going to be completely fine throughout that setup. We're about 3 minutes into the game. Dampening has not kicked in just yet. And I kind of wonder, as this game goes on, who's going to have more and more of an edge. But big damage on a Peekaboo. That's going to be the Cloak of Shadows as well as the Feint, barely holding on. I mean, that Drestagath, if it was available for Chun-Li, would have just been lights out. Peekaboo drops a Smoke Bomb with a Kidney Shot. Smexen immediately using the Gladiator's Medallion to break free from that Smoke Bomb and allow Gorecki to actually get some heals on him. So just trading it out. Very standard there from Smexen. And it seems like Spacestation Gaming, they're just making the trades with their cooldowns and then continuing these really, really aggressive pushes onto Peekaboo primarily. Lightning Lasso out of the leg sweep onto Peekaboo, but do they have the burst damage to actually take him down? Absurge in a prime position to actually get out some healing, throwing in a Sacrifice. So a little bit odd. I feel like he did not need to use that Sacrifice whatsoever, but does trade it out, maybe trying to, I'm not sure if he was getting hexed or something like that, but a bit peculiar there.
A little bit of an anticipatory play, but is that right? Is his Sacrifice 10 seconds away from coming back up again? I swear he just pressed that. Is that, if it's up in 5 more seconds, what? It's actually back up. I don't think it's a mistake to press it if that's accurate. That's actually back up. Peekaboo pre-fainting here, expecting some stun locks. WizK gets Ring of Peace off the side. Peekaboo in the Lightning Lasso. Absurge could sacrifice him again, I believe, but doesn't need to. Big Divine Favor with Avenging Wrath. Comboed there together. Chun-Li stunned up. Silence on Gorecki. But Smexen's in position with Tremor if there's a Mind Bomb. They actually Mind Bomb Smexen. He's just going to get dispelled out of that. And yes, I mean, Smexen's just playing a solid series overall on this Elemental Shaman. Spacestation Gaming as a whole just looking really great here against the Golden Guardians. And unless the Golden Guardians amp up something here, I think they're in trouble. They're on match point. Paralyze on Absurge, stun and Peekaboo. WizK isolated. He's going to activate the Fade, retreat back away, and try and avoid some damage. Absurge looking to snipe a Repentance, not able to find it. Peekaboo a little bit into enemy territory here. Shadow steps over to Gorecki. They're going after the Paladin. This is cheeky. I kind of like it, but Gorecki's just going to walk it off here with his wall and start to recover. Charging into Absurge. Double Blinding Light. Beautiful Blinding Light by Gorecki here. Peekaboo in a bit of trouble. Feints some of the damage, but a Hex to follow up. I love this crowd control chain by Spacestation Gaming at the moment. Peekaboo trades Evasion, gets Ring of Peace, though, back into their clutches. He may have to cloak. They trade Sacrifice. He's going to redirect damage over to Absterge instead, but he's now in a Hammer of Justice. WizK gets knocked really far from the fight. He's so far away, he has to use Dispersion. Man, Space Station Gaming, they are blasting off.
Yeah, they are definitely looking like they are about to take this entire series here, kind of showing us why the Golden Guardian were so hesitant to locking this in. Peekaboo in a lightning lasso right now, taking huge damage, full paralyze onto Absterge, but Absterge has his Avenging Wrath active, which means his heals are going to be fat. Peekaboo should have no problem surviving this situation here, as long as Absterge doesn't get crowd control, silence onto Gorecki, kidney shot onto Chun-Li, mind control onto Smexin, full blind onto Gorecki. Touch of Karma gets blessing or protected. Let's see, do they have any more follow-up? Peekaboo goes for the sap, he gets it. Gorecki is going to have to use something here. Divine Shield gets activated, and he does pick up his Windwalker in that situation. But that was a nice push here by the Golden Guardians, and still going too. They get the DR Repentance, so Absterge is running that, but now Absterge in a Hex. So WizK is going to just play defense with those mind controls. And also, Peekaboo is running 8 Gushings. He forgot to put a Gushing on one of his gear pieces, so Peekaboo is actually just gimped on damage right now a little bit.
That is super. He's actually, yeah, is he running 0 versatility? I think he is.
Yep.
Actually has 0 versatility. He's -6 versatility, so definitely
look at his
a
wrist.
little bit of damage. Yeah,
He
but
forgot to use it on the...
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Let's see what they can get done, though. I mean, Chun-Li, so far, I feel like Space Station Gaming, they've just been rotating so perfectly. They're looking absolutely bulletproof with the amount of versatility that they have. And with this composition, a nice crowd control coming in from Space Station Gaming, Hammer of Justice onto Absterge. And WizK will be forced into the Dispersion. Now out of the Dispersion, looking to get aggressive here onto Chun-Li. But once again, Gorecki with a preemptive Vitality Conduit on that Hammer of Justice is going to be feeling very fine. And grapple weapon. These grapple weapons from Chun-Li onto Peekaboo have been absolutely devastating. So well timed, but Peekaboo is just saying, you know what, forget this. I'm not going after Specs and I'm not going after Chun-Li. Gorecki is the target of choice, but Chun-Li immediately trying to punish that decision, not allowing him to overextend.
Full Hex on Absterge, Peekaboo down at half health. WizK lockdown, triple crowd control by Space Station Gaming. Absterge responds with the sacrifice. Chun-Li trades the karma back and forth between the Golden Guardians and Space Station Gaming on match point here in game number 3. Gorecki stunned up. They're swapping over to Gorecki. They're mixing up. He doesn't have Divine Shield. Then switching back to Chun-Li. Golden Guardians trying to keep Space Station Gaming on their toes, but Gorecki is not faltering. Huge Earth Shock onto Peekaboo. Lavaverse combo, WizK repositioning out in the midfield. Gorecki blinded, trinkets it, goes for the Hammer of Justice on Absterge to try and turn around the pressure. Chun-Li is very low on health. Should he recover here? Avenging Wrath, nice double stun punish. Hex being casted, mind controlled by WizK. Chun just trying to solo Peekaboo. Fist of Fury not going to be enough here. Nice Crackling Jade on the kidney shot, knocking Peekaboo away for a moment. Smexon repositioning upstairs here, getting ready for that Lightning Lasso Stormkeeper. But WizK and Peekaboo are owning Smexon. Where did this damage come from all of a sudden? Tremor on the Mind Bomb. Nice play by Smexon there. He astral shifts anyways before the Vendetta. Big opening for the Golden Guardians. Despite being kind of smacked around in this game, they are coming back.
Yeah, they're finding some nice opportunities here, and they have a lot more damage with that Gush, and they get a Hex here onto Absterge. Do they have any follow-up damage, though? WizK takes a decent beating here. Everybody is kind of dropping low, though, and Chun-Li might actually need to get a cooldown here. Gorecki is going to use that Hand of Sacrifice on him. Divine Favor comes through. Gorecki has a lot of work ahead of him here, trying to pick everybody up here. When WizK, he's doing a ton of damage here. Chun-Li has his support crew active, anticipating a kidney shot here. He's going to have to try to fist it, but no, he does get kidney shot behind the pillar. However, he does get fully recovered here by Gorecki, who has that Avenging Wrath active, and now it looks like finally Space Station Gaming can breathe for a little bit after that pressure that the Golden Guardians just had. And now once again, Gorecki gonna get silenced right there. He's gonna go ahead and get out of that one, and now he's casting out big heals here, still on his teammates, and finally a big push on the Peekaboo. He has his trinket. Is he going to use it? He gets grappled as well at the end of that lasso, and now he's going offensive back onto Chun-Li. And both of these teams right now, as long as those Avenging Wraths are active, they're not going to really be able to take too much damage. And Gorecki has his cooldown coming back up any second here, so I don't expect Space Station Gaming to go down anytime soon, whereas Absterge, He still has 10-second cooldown on him. They could force out a dispersion here potentially onto Whiskey. Do they have the damage? Gorecki trinkets out of a blind into a full sap. What a hero play by Peekaboo, forcing out the trinket and the bubble there. Big play behind the pillar there from Peekaboo. He's going to put his team in a commanding position here as we move deeper and deeper into dampening here, Van.
Yep, dampening is getting higher and higher. Beautiful plays by Peekaboo, forcing out all the outs from Gorecki. And now Spacestation Gaming could be in a world of trouble. Fortifying Brew gets traded out by Chun-Li. Decent damage onto WizK and Peekaboo. But Peekaboo, with his trinket, Cloak of Shadows evasion, he's going to be feeling very durable and safe at this position. Absurge as well with his Divine Shield. I mean, this is a really close game, but Golden Guardians starting to crawl their way back into this one. Peekaboo now into a stun. Are they going to be able to get the trinket? Unfortunately, no. Absurge there with a beautiful Vitality Conduit. Keeps Peekaboo in the fight. Now a big swap onto WizK. They aren't able to force out the dispersion, but the pressure is starting to go in favor of Spacestation Gaming as they force Golden Guardians to retreat in the match. These hexes have been very clutch from Smexen. Without the mage, there's no hex to spell, and that is very effective crowd control. All right, now Spacestation Gaming, 40% dampening still, developing their lead. Vitality Conduit free trades by Gorecki, but Chun-Li gets bursted down, forced to portal away. That silence on a Gorecki into a potential Mind Bomb, gets tremored by Smexen. Very great utility on that Elemental Shaman. Really effective, the Tremor Totem, at denying Shadow Priest crowd control. So it's a good pick from Spacestation Gaming, but the Golden Guardians, they're the ones that picked this matchup. Smoke Bomb drops down. Chun-Li is forced to use the Everman for himself on that Smoke Bomb, which is more than a fair trade. Mind Control now going to be used to try to deny some of that damage on the Lightning Lasso, and ultimately Peekaboo will survive another stun.
I'm a bit surprised. I mean, maybe he didn't want to cancel the lasso to purge mind control, but you can purge mind control, so I do want to see Smexen start doing that. And Chun-Li just got pulled into a terrible position as a result of WizK's plays. Mind Bomb down here, no Tremor for 17. This crowd control could be devastating. Repentance casted. Gorecki's stuck. That play earlier on by Peekaboo might net his team the win here and now. Astral Shift from Smexen. Gorecki is still locked down. Will it be enough at 46% dampening? Chun-Li whittled down as well to the Shadow Priest dots. Now Gorecki looks to turn it around to stun onto Absurge. Grapple weapon over onto Peekaboo. The pressure from WizK is mounting. He's in void form. He's ramping up. Peekaboo trinkets out to push for a kill, but he's actually starting to fall behind. He faints. Absurge has to use Sacrifice. Both teams trading inefficiently at 50% dampening just to stay on target. Mana is basically burned out on both sides. There's the Mind Bomb. Where's the Tremor? Tremor goes down. Gorecki breaks out of the Mind Bomb. Avenging Wrath for both sides. Crackling Jade Lightning on Peekaboo off the side. Chun-Li trying to stall. Buy more time. Smexen slips in with a Hex. Absurge Divine Shields out. WizK has been rotted down. Peekaboo evasion's at 50%. Absurge is waiting for that Avenging Wrath, but Lightning Lasso is here and now. Will he survive? WizK gets Windshield. Chun-Li gets stunned. Peekaboo looks to turn it around, but Chun-Li pre-Fort Brews the stun. He gets mind controlled off the side. Good purge by Smexen. Gorecki trinkets out of blind. No sap on the trinket this time around.
Peekaboo's dead.
WizK is charging in. Silence on Gorecki. Peekaboo, are you going to stay alive here? He's got Vanishing Cloak. I don't think he's going to go down. Vitality Conduit. Big Earth Shock. He should just consider cloaking. Maybe Absurge is telling him you're fine, but Avenging Wrath now available for Absurge. He should stabilize. It's Chun-Li that could be in trouble. Gorecki activates the Sacrifice. Smexen's trying to carry the team with the Lightning Lasso. Huge damage in on Peekaboo. Absurge deflects it with the Sacrifice. This one is coming down to the absolute wire on match point. Anyone can still take it. Gorecki gets stunned up in midfield. Everybody is dead on his team. He Astral Shifts on such low. A sap out of the stun. Beautiful play by Peekaboo. That sap is easily going to be the game-winning play.
Wow.
Golden Guardians put a point on the board.
There was a point in that
Absolutely.
match. There was a point in that match when I called Peekaboo was dead. He had no trinket for the incoming leg sweep, but he was just kiting around with freedom. I don't know if he evasioned it or Chun-Li ended up missing the stun, but once that leg sweep was out of the way, it was Golden Guardians all the way. And man, what an unbelievable victory there. They were on the back foot for the initial stages of that match, but in dampening, their crowd control and all that gushing wound and Shadow Priest damage really starts adding up.
Yeah, incredibly well done by Golden Guardians. It looks like they may be able to turn this series around now, only one game away from tying this up here against Spacestation Gaming. Potentially, they're looking obviously to get to that game 5 and reverse sweep Spacestation Gaming here. Where did it start to turn around for them? Was that their goal in the end? There's just getting Spacestation Gaming to deep dampening Zico in order to secure that win?
Oh yeah, I mean, I feel like Golden Guardians with this Rogue Shadow Priest, they always are going to rely on dampening to start getting things going. You know, you can see Paladins, they're pretty good into Shadow Priest. They got a lot of ways to deal with that damage. You know, especially with the Ineffable Truth, reducing the CD of your wings. You got the Shadow Resistance aura. You got a lot of nice ways to deal with Shadow Priest damage. So Shadow Priest teams are always going to have to go late before their damage is really going to start to kind of add up. And that's when they can find those wins. And I think a lot of it comes down to, you know, some individual plays as well, like Peekaboo forcing out, you know, Trinket and Bubble because he, you know, blinds somebody and then saps the Trinket. Things like that, you know, the sap at the end there as well to secure the kill. It's nice setups from his teammates, and he's capitalizing on it every single time to get those saps.
Mm-hmm. Now it is going to be Spacestation Gaming's map choice here, and that my question then is if they have that next map choice here, is that something that's going to be repeatable on the side of Golden Guardians then?
I think so. I mean, honestly, the composition is very well rounded. I don't think Spacestation Gaming, playing melee caster healer themselves, really has a map they can go to that's going to greatly favor them in any way. So I think Golden Guardians with this matchup is going to be looking good. The problem for me is that if they lock in this composition blind, I think we're seeing Thugonomics come in on the Destruction Warlock. And Windwalker Destruction Warlock is very strong into Shadow Priest, and I think WizK doesn't want to play that matchup out. So we might see the Golden Guardians have to blind lock Rogue Mage. But we'll see what map they decide to go to and what they're looking to set up. But I think Spacestation Gaming is going to be more than happy to tag in Thugonomics for a matchup like that.
All right, Ven thinking that Thug is going to come in on that Warlock. What about you, Supatees? If they do that, what do you think we're going to see out of this next game here?
Yeah, definitely. If they lock in Shadow Priest, Rogue Paladin, I think Thugonomics is coming off the bench into this game for Smexen, and that's going to be really tough. I feel like it's the comp that Shadow Priest Rogue has been struggling with Windwalker Destro, so very curious to see. Blades Edge Arena is a good map pick for Chun-Li as he can portal. Smexen can Thunderstorm, so I think this is a wise decision by Spacestation Gaming. It's up to the Golden Guardians. Are they going to repeat yesterday where they didn't play Shadow Priest Rogue for 2 games lost and then tried to reverse sweep and lose on game 5? It's looking like maybe that's the case. They love playing with the heartstrings of their fans, you know, just putting them on the edge of their seat the entire time, just absolutely down to the wire, and then pull off a win. I mean, it's a tough life being a Golden Guardians fan. Like you gotta have things together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be a really tough battle here for Golden Guardians. Definitely still believe in them, though. I know chat does as well. But it seems like Blades Edge Arena, this is really going to be, this was obviously Spacestation Gaming's map pick. And this is going to be a map that really just plays to their comp advantage here, Zico.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not sure what they decide to do here, but if I was Golden Guardians, I think I would just go for the Rogue Shadow Priest. Yep, that's exactly what they're going to do here. Rogue Shadow Priest H-Pal. I think it's an intelligent thing. You can play Rogue Mage. You're going to play into LA Windwalker. You already know how that matchup goes. So play the Rogue Shadow Priest. You're going to face probably Raid Boss Thug here. But you haven't played that matchup yet. You have in the past and got destroyed. But you haven't played it, recently. You don't know 100% how it's going to go, right? So I feel like they're both kind of low percentage plays to win. But I think this is the highest low percentage play here from the Golden Guardians. So I like what they're doing.
It's the best worst choice.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. I think we're going to see Thug here, like Windwalker, Destro. And I don't know what healer, though. I kind of want to see it with a Pally, I think.
Definitely Paladin.
What about you, Supatees? What do you think their best healer would be if they did have Thug go on that Warlock?
Yeah, Paladin, Destro, Windwalker is what I want to see. I mean, they could play the same thing. For some reason, I just feel like they are going to actually just end up playing the same comp. And then maybe the map works out better for them because they have Hex, cast and crowd control, and then that can be very punishing for the Golden Guardians because they don't have a Hex to spell. So maybe the map does allow enable the Elemental Shaman. I don't actually think either is a bad pick with the way that this map would play for Smexen if they want to keep him in. They are probably considering, though, running double Monk. I feel like Golden Guardians kind of smashed monks though, like Mystery for monks. I feel like Sidu, when he's played monk in the Golden Guardians, hasn't had a great time. So yeah, they're just gonna play the same thing. Don't really blame them. I feel like they were pretty close to winning in the last game, and this map was a lot better for their comp.
All right, well, game should be starting soon here while these teams sort of gather themselves up as the draft did just finish here. Now that we see both comps here on the board on Blades Edge Arena, I mean, this is a really unique map. It's not one we see all the time. It's not quite as rare as, let's say, Mugen Bala, though, Zico. I want to talk about the positioning here that we're going to see on the map with, you know, the ramps and everything. We've got Portal from Chun. There's all kinds of things both of these teams could do in terms of positioning here on Blades Edge.
Well, I would say the team that can do the most would be Spacestation Gaming. Golden Guardians, they could mind control somebody and jump them down, and then they would have to run back up, and then they might get mind controlled again, which can be annoying. But on the side of Spacestation Gaming, they can quite literally set up kills. Smexing could knock somebody to the opposite side of the map, you know, from their healer, and then they could just lightning lasso them there and just completely destroy them. And Chun-Li, obviously, with Ring of Peace, with Transcendence, if he's focused, he can just Ring of Peace somebody down, or he can jump down and transcend back up. So Chun-Li's going to have a lot of options on this map. But I don't think it's the worst map for Peekaboo as well, though, because Peekaboo's going to have decent uptime on this map. He's going to be able to, get to his targets a lot of the time and not get kited too much. So I think this is a mistake by Spacestation Gaming to lock in this comp. I would much rather just see Thug on like a little larger map.
What was the comp that they played, Spacestation Gaming? They played against Cloud9. They won a game against them on this map. It was Smexon on an Ellie. Was it?
Trampoline Cleave.
It was double monk, yeah.
Right.
And actually, one thing I wanted to say is Spacestation Gaming, out of all the teams I've ever seen, they picked Blades Edge Arena the most. Besides maybe...
Wildcard?
The Wildcard Gaming, yeah, Wildcard Gaming. I was going to call them XRB to the moon, but yeah, Wildcard Gaming, Spacestation Gaming. Both of them pick Blades Edge Arena quite a bit. It seems like a pocket pick for Spacestation Gaming. And yeah, implementing the double monk, the trampoline cleave, as we call it, with a double Ring of Peace, knocking, enemy team down and able to get out big burst damage. But I don't know, this map's not too bad. The interesting thing about it is when you're in the middle of the bridge, there's almost no line of sight. Like, it's not easy to, you can jump off the bridge, or I guess you can try to run to one side or the other, but I think the big open space is going to be nice for Smexon to land hexes. Chun-Li can use the Ring of Peace to knock, Peekaboo or WizK off the side, or even Absurge off the side for additional crowd control. And maybe even Gorecki could play. It's likely he won't play it, but I was going to say he could even play Repentance in this matchup, potentially. I mean, you do give up the Blinding Light, but the casted crowd control might be really nice for them to get something going.
What do we see, like, now that we know both of these comps, do we want to make any predictions, Subatees, on maybe what we'll see in terms of dampening? Let's say if both of these teams play a clean game, how deep into dampening can we expect this game to go?
I feel like we've collected the data. It's like at least 40%. At least. That's like low end. Closer probably to 50, and then like maybe mid 60s is where I expect the game to end. Unless
you gotta go you gotta commit, Sid.
I have to commit.
Yeah.
I can't just say
you gotta commit to your
between
answer,
40 and 70. Somewhere between 40 and 70 dampening. It's like a chance of showers.
Okay.
I'm like the weather, okay? I'm trying to report on the weather. It's never exact, okay? It's like chance of showers, 40 to 70.
What about you then, Zico? Can we get a more specific stat from you then, if you're gonna give us...
No chance of a shower in the next month at least.
Wait, what?
Okay.
No,
what did you just do?
I would say 47% dampening.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit lower on this
dampening.
one. Yeah, I would say 53 is my guess. I think it's not going to go into the 60s for this one.
Oh, that thunderstorm.
I'm
Look at
writing these down.
Peekaboo. Oh, man, Peekaboo's he had to sprint to get back on target. Absurge and a Repentance. Gorecki has switched his talents up here. That might be devastating. That extra bit of crowd control. Sacrifice from Absurge. It's not the ultimate sacrifice. They're trying to crack through it. Not enough damage to do so. The one thing I love about WizK and Absurge is that they never overlap that Vampiric Embrace with other cooldowns. They always use them one into the other, and that allows their team to be sustainable for long periods of time.
Yeah, and we are going to see Whiskey here taking a decent amount of damage. Upsturge is in a full rep here, so Gorek is actually playing rep. He actually trinketed to get that rep, trinketed on that blind there. So nice exchange. They get the disperse as a result, and Peekaboo takes a fat hit there as he's trying to punish Goreki here. Fist of Fury. He's still taking massive damage. He actually has to use his Vanish there defensively onto Chun just to stop that Fist of Fury. Goreki is going to be charging in here, looking for the Hammer of Justice, potentially silence onto Goreki to stop that, but he does secure it, and now Peekaboo getting knocked off on the side. Chun-Li is going to be stuck in that Mind Bomb a little bit longer. Smexon looking for the damage, gets the Lightning Lasso onto Whiskey, which he trinkets out immediately. Triple leg sweep, so much damn here coming out from Space Station Gaming. They've had an amazing opener so far, forcing out multiple major defensive cooldowns here from Golden Guardians. I think if they can set something up in the next minute or so, they could easily force out, one of the really, really big cooldowns, like a Divine Shield or maybe a Void Shift. We're going to see what they can do right now, though. They're in trouble. Kidney shot onto Chun-Li, stuck in a smoke bomb. Goreki gets sheep shot. Did he have anything to follow it up? Mind Bomb comes out, but I think it breaks early there. Goreki with the Divine Fave, gonna be able to top Chan here. Nice Hammer of Justice onto Upsturge. Peekaboo gonna be trinketing and using that Cloak of Shadows as a result. So I gotta say, Space Station Gaming so far firing on all cylinders and just blasting off, to quote Sid.
Yeah, the map is looking fantastic. I like that Goreki ended up going Repentance. I think just with the Hex threat and the Repentance threat, Absurd is constantly going to be on his toes, and it's not going to be easy for WizK to survive, forced into the Dispersion already in the game, so no Fade, no Dispersion. He just still does have the Void Shift, but so far, pressure is greatly in favor of Space Station Gaming. However, to be fair, it kind of looked like this in the last game as well, and it feels like if the Golden Guardians can just hold on, eventually the Shadow Priest pressure at 40, 50, 60% dampening starts really, really adding up. But I think it's going to be difficult for the Golden Guardians to hold on that long, and if they're able to do it, that's when they're going to start really developing pressure in the match.
Swap over to Peekaboo, everything focusing him down. Absurd trades that Sacrifice, redirecting damage and stabilizing Peekaboo. Peekaboo looking to turn it around, stunning Chun-Li, Shadow Step kick over to Goreki, trying to carry the team here, but Vitality Conduit on the kick seems to be like enough. Goreki actually still trinketing blind, doesn't feel comfortable sitting through that extended crowd control chain. Really like the map pick here for Space Station Gaming, as it's got that Z-axis, the upper level, so that they can more easily lift off against their opponents, Golden Guardians. Currently, Absurd's locked down in a Repentance. Lightning Lasso on Peekaboo. Nice combo. Pre-feint, though, by Peekaboo. Both teams playing at such a high level. Golden Guardians need to reverse sweep, win 2 games in a row if they want to pull off a win in this round-robin format. They won't get a second chance against Space Station Gaming in circuit play, so they need to pull this off. Otherwise, you're going to be down 2 series in this round-robin. That's not a good place to be in for the Golden Guardians. This is going to be tense.
Now another tense moment here. Triple leg sweep. Actually, only a double. They get the trinket from Whiskey. Peekaboo taking a fat hit from that Lightning Lasso combo as well. Whiskey actually used his Vampiric Embrace there together with his trinket. Activated the Fade there as well. Upstairs in a Hex, but it's DR'd. Peekaboo now looking to potentially get a restuff here, and I think he should be able to find it. Upsturge actually charging in now as well. Back to his team there, and Goreki and a Hammer of Justice. Let's see what can they do with this. Whiskey is actually the one taking damage here. They get the Mind Bomb, but I don't know how Goreki gets out of these Mind Bombs so quickly, but he gets silenced. Divine Favor, big heal comes out. Smexon is topped off, and Chun-Li is topped off as well. Whiskey is not. He's taking quite a decent amount of damage here, but the Vitality Conduit is going to keep him rolling here. Upsturge almost getting hexed there, but Smexon did get kicked. Now Smexon still looking for the hex, not able to find it. Upsturge ducks down, and instead he's going to hex Whiskey, but it's DR, unfortunately for him. Goreki now pushing in with the wings, looking to set something up here. Double leg sweep and a Lightning Lasso on the third person. Upsturge actually taking a little bit of damage here because of that preemptive sacrifice, and now Whiskey has that sacrifice going to grip Peekaboo to safety, and Absurd has a lot of work ahead of him here. No Avenging Wrath for another couple of 30 or so seconds, and his entire team is kind of dying here. He needs to be very careful. Goreki in a full blind. He chooses to sit it for now. He does have his Trinket. Chan, what are you going to do here? Now he's going to Trinket the Sap. He gets silenced, though, on that Trinket. Chan using that Fist of Fury, trying to survive here for a little bit longer. Lightning Lasso onto Whiskey. That's going to be the Disperse here, and I think Goreki actually got kicked into a kidneys, and now he's getting swapped here by Peekaboo, but I think it could be a mistake. I want to see them go after Chan here. Chan actually, with the touch of Karma onto Peekaboo, is He's going to be able to stay alive 100%. And now Gorecki going for the Hodge Repentance. He gets it. Whiskey could be in huge trouble here, Van.
Ooh, I like that Ring of Peace to knock Absterge off the side to continue the offensive push. Now Smexit into a full kidney shot with a cheap shot onto Chun-Li. Sacrifice gets traded out by Gorecki, and we're at about 7% dampening. We'll see which one of us weathermen is correct in our predictions and see if it can go that late. Peekaboo now into a full stun. Can they force out the trinket? Do they have the Drestagath available? Chun-Li looking for some big burst damage, but Whiskey stacking on top of him. If it was available, that would soak up a lot of that damage. Peekaboo forced to use a kidney shot defensive. Abster's even playing Repentance on this map as well. So both these paladins making adaptations. Gorecki sneaks in a Repentance onto Absterge, and now Whiskey and Peekaboo are falling further and further behind.
Well, things are getting heavy here. Hope everybody at home understands the gravity of the situation as the Golden Guardians still need to win 2 in a row here against Space Station Gaming. They won't get a second chance against this team in the round-robin format. So far, they've managed to at least stay alive, and they're not totally falling apart. They have some options here with Void Shift, Evasion, and Cloak of Shadows, but maybe they could switch to Absterge. He's currently in a Hex, so they are going after Peekaboo. Peekaboo faints immediately. They switch over to Whiskey. Whiskey wind shear, big Dressing dropped by Chun-Li, trying to catch him off guard, but Absterge clutches out the heels. Now switching back to Peekaboo, knocking him off with the Crackling Jade Lightning, buying time for Gorecki to recover, but Gorecki gets silenced and purged on his Divine Favor. Clutch play by Whiskey here. Stun over onto Chun-Li. Absterge moving towards mid-bridge, but there's a Thunderstorm waiting for him there, and we can see the Karma traded out for Chun-Li. They're going to pop off the Karma. They mind control Chun-Li off the side. Clutch play, but then Chun ports back. Peekaboo didn't fall for the bait, though. He stayed on the top of the bridge. He's going for that Death from Above, looking to reconnect. Lightning Lasso. Big damage on the Peekaboo. That's a Void Shift right away. They might have cracked through Void Shift. They might have just done enough damage that they took Peekaboo out twice in one attempt there. Close call for the Golden Guardians.
Yeah, and Peekaboo is actually playing Death from Above, so it could be a way for him to kind of stay on target if Chun-Li ports away, or if he thinks he's going to get Lightning Lassoed. He just tried to kind of immune the lasso with it there, almost able to do so, but fortunately for him, his team had to blow a decent amount of cooldowns there to keep him alive with that Void Shift, and now there it is, Death from Above once again. Not going to be able to find anything really with that iframe. Nice shadow step from Peekaboo back onto his target there, but now he's going to be stuck in the middle of the map actually with no shadow step. Not the best situation to be in, but he does have the sprint, triple capstun totem onto his entire team. Smexing look for the Hex, he lands it, and big damage to follow up on Peekaboo. What are you going to do? How are you going to stay alive? Absolutely, there's no way out of this Hex. Big damage to follow through. Nice Ring of Peace by Chun-Li, and you can see that Ring of Peace is just making it so Pika and Absterge are just constantly line of sighting each other here, and now Peekaboo looking to iframe there potentially on that Death from Above Lightning Lasso, but not once again finding it. Instead, he's going to go out now, look for some damage onto Chun. Chun is going to be able to brush that off with the Diffuse Magic easily, and you can see Gorecki, he's going to have his trinket rotating back up. Blessing of Protection is active here as well, so he's going to be completely fine in that situation, and now Peekaboo is actually the one on the back foot. Both paladins on about 20% or so mana. Who is going to run out of cooldowns first? Who's going to run out of mana first? Right now, it's looking like Absterge just has to use his Divine Shield just to break out of that Hex. Smexen's just been landing these time and time again. Nice kidney shot here onto Chun, but I don't think they're going to have too much damage to follow it up. Did Absterge just fall down there? I'm not sure if he was trying to line of sight something or if he actually just fell, but that's going to be a sacrifice there as well, forced out from Absterge. So Space Station Gaming really taking a big lead here. I don't know how long Golden Guardians are going to be able to stay alive here. They need to get something going. They need some offense. They need to try to burn through Gorecki's mana or his cooldowns here. And somehow, I'm not sure if they have enough time to do it though. Peekaboo's on 50%. One more setup could just close out the game. Gorecki's moving in. He's looking for the Hammer of Justice. Absterge gets it first. Full Hex gets mind control interrupted there by Whiskey, but Smexen's still looking for it. If they get that Hammer of Justice and that Hex, it could just be the game here, Rookie.
It definitely could be. All three members of Space Station Gaming are rotting down once again at 31% dampening. Whiskey is putting on massive pressure. Big mind control coming in. It gets purged off now. Full kidney shot lands onto Chun-Li as Smexen and Chun-Li are kind of struggling to develop momentum right now. Hex on Whiskey, paralyze on Absterge into a capacitor stun. Nicely done there by Smexen. Peekaboo forced to use the Cloak of Shadows. Not too many defensive cooldowns to work with. He still has the Vanish, which is going to be a get out of jail free card for him, but 33% dampening. Both these paladins running on fumes in terms of mana. Double leg sweep coming in. Whiskey immediately trinkets wants to at least assist Peekaboo a little bit in that exchange. Absurge has no more defensive cooldowns. However, the inevitable truth is rolling. Smexon rotting down lower and lower, already having to trade out that Astral Shift. Cheap shot onto Gorecki. He's already used his Dark Iron Dwarf as well, so any crowd control, this is a big opportunity for the Golden Guardians to actually close it out.
Let's see if they can keep up the momentum here and ride it to victory and take it to a game number 5. Gorecki denies the kill for now with the sacrifice and Avenging Wrath. He should be able to get his team back in the fight. Now paralyzing Absturge, massive damage on the WizK. He has to disperse all of that damage immediately. Gorecki charging in, looking for crowd control. Hammers down. Will he find a Repentance as well? Now hammers reverse onto Gorecki. Chun trades out Karma. Absturge doesn't have a bop for it. Looks like they went for it anyway. Just reset cooldown from Ineffable Truth. Chun-Li caught the kidney shot. Silence on Gorecki. Chun-Li diffused magics right away. Sacrifice from Absturge. Basically no mana left here. Not many options for the Golden Guardian. Space Station Gaming are stabilizing. They look to finish Peekaboo. He trinkets. He ducks for cover, but Repentance is being channeled. That lands on Absturge. 2 members of the move are critically low on health. Absturge's Divine Shield comes up, he trades, he pops Avenging Wrath. He's got a big recovery moment here. He needs to get everyone to full health with this amount of time. If he can't restabilize, it is looking dangerous. Paralyzed on the Absturge. WizK Vampiric Embraces. They stun up Chun-Li, but he pre-fort brews it, negating the assault. Peekaboo just dressed against right at the end of it. Mind Bomb onto Gorecki. On diminishing return, you can start to see that the teams are making little mistakes here as this game has been going on for the better part of 12 minutes. Both sides playing it out to the absolute bitter end. Can they hold on? Void Shift is coming up in 15 seconds. It's coming up in 15 seconds. Can WizK make it to that point? Peekaboo gets launched off the side into a lightning lasso and gets blown out of orbit, potentially pulled right back in by WizK. Gorecki now silenced into the stun. He's immediately going to have to Divine Shield. Now Absturge's locked down. This has just been back and forth nonstop for the better part of a minute straight.
Ooh, defensive smoke by Peekaboo. They have the Void Shift. Can they get it in time? Peekaboo actually gets a re-stealth at the end of that smoke. Well, actually vanished at the end of that one. Still in big trouble. WizK finds the swap in the nick of time, but Peekaboo stuck in a full stun. He could just potentially die here. WizK goes for the mind control, trying to keep his rogue alive a little bit longer. And Absturge, how are you going to keep him alive? He has the sacrifice, but that is the last line of defense as both of these teams are completely tapped on mana. Smexon so low on HP. What are you going to do? Gorecki's looking for the Hammer of Justice, looking for the Repentance. Can he find it? Smexon's in a kidney shot. There's the Vampiric Embrace. There's the Vampiric Touch. WizK looking to get some damage rolling here for his teammates. It could be anybody's game in these next couple of seconds. Who's going to fall first here, Baruki?
Oh, that really is the question. Peekaboo with no defensive options left whatsoever. He's still on the run, but Chun-Li is all over him, trading out the Touch of Karma. The full kidney shot does land. Peekaboo hanging on by a razor's edge, and it looks like he will ultimately fall. Absurge and Peekaboo go down at 52% dampening. And man, what a close